Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today our group will be presenting about the source of production, a focus on purchasing process. This is our group member as the presenter.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Zulhelmi bin Abdurrahman. I'm as the first presenter will start the presentation with the introduction. In this introduction, I will explain about four terms which is production, sourcing, purchasing and procurement. For the production, according to Bates and Parkinson, production is an organized activity of transforming resource into finished products in the form of goods and service. The goal of production is to meet demand for such transformed resource. Secondly, sourcing. Sourcing is the process of selecting suppliers, negotiating supply contracts, and overseeing supplier performance to meet cost competitiveness, operational efficiency, sustainability, risk management, and quality objectives. Next, our main focus, which is purchasing. According to Joyce in 2006, the term purchasing refers to the act of buying a product. It includes understanding the requirements, identifying and selecting a supplier, and negotiating a price. Purchasing is a subcategory for procurement, and it includes a variety of processes such as ordering, expediting, receiving, and paying. Meanwhile, for the procurement, it is more general term. Purchase for production, stores, logistic, receiving, inspection, and salvage, which is rescue, are all included. It is also focused on the need for the good, service, or work and its impact on organizational success.
Hi, my name is Nabil Irfan Biusulan and I will explain about purchasing management. Purchasing and supply managers are responsible for the effective administration of a business supplies such as they seek, select, contract and finally manage suppliers to secure the delivery of commodities and services that a business requires. Supply management is more important. Purchasing has grown in importance among business in recent years. As a result, adequately qualified personnel is required and excellent job prospect for purchasers is emerged and developed. A company purchasing department is often separated into two groups, like strategic sourcing and operative procurement. The first group is in charge, the former for supplier selection and contracting, and the second group for the purchase orders is carried out. Technology has recently advanced, and oriented business began to establish a third group, commonly referred to as advanced sourcing or procurement contracting. These organizations are in charge of the interface between strategic sourcing and research and development department. As a result, purchasing and supply management is distinct from supply chain administration that was called supply chain management. Supply chain management is frequently referred to as improving logistical procedures to ensure a high level of service, effective time management, transport, and storage of suppliers. Okay, next is purchasing management role. Purchasing is both a functional group and a functional activity such as a formal entity on the organization hierarchy for purchasing goods and services. The purchasing group engage in various tasks to ensure that it provides the most value to the firm. Purchasing mechanisms are created in various ways, including supplier identification and selection, purchasing, negotiation, contracting, supply market research, supply measurement, and improvement. Purchasing has been defined as carrying out the five rights of acquiring the right quality, in the right amount, at the right time, at the right place, and from the right source. In this study, we will use the term purchasing and procurement. Purchasing management is responsible for planning and supervising the acquisition of items and resources from suppliers to satisfy the organization objective and strategic goals. In practice, procurement managers must communicate with clients, both internal and external as well. On the other hand, he or she must respond creatively to the requirements of internal customers while still maintaining a mutually beneficial relationship with suppliers. This dual-function purchasing management perspective has evolved to encompass complex roles in integrating internal or external supply chain management activities in recent years. Next is importance of purchase management. First, cost-effective production. Purchasing are responsible for analyzing internal needs, identifying certain vendors, and obtaining resources, components, suppliers, and services needed to make a product or offer a service. The purchasing manager is also in charge of negotiating price with suppliers. The importance of purchasing when you consider that in manufacturing industry, more than 60% of the cost of finished goods comes from purchased parts and materials. Furthermore, the percentage of purchased inventory for retail and wholesale companies are substantially higher, frequently topping 90%. The benefit of purchasing extends beyond the cost of the items acquired. Other crucial aspects include product and service quality and delivery time, which can have a massive impact on operations. Okay, next for the importance of purchase management. Secondly, strategic purpose. Purchasing is a strategic issue. Manufacturers must invest in capital assets such as equipment and machinery for their manufacturing operations. It demands a substantial investment. However, purchasing is seen as critical task in certain firms, particularly those of a small company or small scale. They only provide this position to persons who are devoted to the company. However, this choice resulted in a bad outcome. Executives in charge of purchasing must be dynamic, innovative, creative, and must have analytical decision making. With the introduction of the supply chain management concept, managers have been more aware of the strategic role supply chains play in purchasing. Purchasing helps to determine a company cost structure through negotiating with suppliers. If executives are effective bargainers, they may save money for their business, allowing them to lower expenses and gain a competitive edge. Inventory may be reduced by using purchasing methods and enhancing the quality of incoming parts and components through vendor selection and supplier growth. By allowing suppliers to engage in product development, purchasing also fosters innovative product creation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nabil bin Muhammad Fadil. So I will continue to present about the purchasing process model. Technically, purchasing process model is a process flow of purchasing process which from the beginning of the process until the end, which will start with the determination of specification and will end with a follow-up with the suppliers. So according to Hanfield, a researcher in this field, which is purchasing process model is to identify the needs of purchaser and evaluate the needs effectively and efficiently, and also to identify the suppliers accordingly, and as well to ensure that all payment process working smoothly, and also to make sure that all needs that are needed by the manufacturer was required well. So that is the definition of purchasing process model. So in purchasing process model, there is 6 elements that need to be completed in purchasing process model, which is first one is determination specification, second one is supplier selection, third one is negotiation with suppliers, fourth one is releasing purchasing order, fifth one is manage and control purchasing supply, and the last one is follow up and evaluation with the supplier. So we will continue with determine specification, which is the first element that need to be completed first in the purchasing process model. So determine specification, what is determine specification? So determine specification means it is to evaluate what kind of material that is needed by the manufacturer in order to give the best and the highest quality for the consumer. So in order we produce a product, we must give the best quality for our consumer with an affordable price. So that is why we need to have determined specification first at the beginning of the process production. So Determine specification. There is 5 elements that is very required, which is the first one is quality specification, logistics specification, maintenance specification, legal and environmental specification, and also the last one is target budget. So we will continue to the next point, which is quality specification. Quality specification, it is to depict how the goods shall be delivered and also what kind of standard that the product should be met. So in order to make sure that the standard is met and the quality arrive in good condition, there's 4 elements that need to be abide, which is the first one is specification by physical or chemical. This is based on the beginning of the process on quality specification, which is they will determine either the product is the product that they order is in physical or chemical. The second one is specification by material or method of manufacturing. And the third one is specification by performance of function, which is this one. It is to ensure whether the product that they desire are working properly or not. And the last one is specification by engineering drawing. So these 4 elements must be abide to ensure that the product produced could reach the highest and the best quality. So the next point is logistic specification. Logistic specification it usually is to determine the quantities needed on how long the period of delivery will be taken and also how the condition of the goods that they need, either it is available in the market or not. So normally people in the industry will use forecast to expect or to forecast either these 3 elements that I've mentioned before, available or not, either it is in a good condition or not, and others. So, but even so, even though they use forecast, normally it will not accurate. So they will directly ask by the supplier to get the direct result or data whether the item is in a good condition, whether the item is available in the market, or how long will the delivery will be taken. So that is how logistic specification works. Okay, so move to the next point, which is maintenance specification. Maintenance specification, it is to determine on how the supplier maintains and provides service for the product. So usually there are 4 elements offered by suppliers, which is the first one, pre-order services. Second one is service from order to delivery, where the suppliers will inform the purchaser when they start to deliver their product. And the third one is service during delivery, which is supplier will give information to the purchaser all along the way from the supplier factory until they arrive to the purchaser manufacturer. And the last one is post-delivery service, which is if there is any defect item when they receive the purchase, they can deal with the supplier for the post-delivery service. That is what been provided in maintenance specification. So the next one is legal and environment requirement. So product and production shall be safe for the consumer usage. So if there is any harmful ingredient or harmful manufacturing process, it shall not be approved by the government or authorized body. So every manufacturer, they shall abide with the regulations that have been stated in certain country. Every country must have their own regulation and standards. So that is why we have International Standard Organization ISO regarding the manufacturing process, and also we have nation standard in order to preserve the quality and standards of certain product. Okay, so the last one is target budget. Usually, manager will plan with the top committee member on what kind of thing that they should be spending their money on, whether they need to purchase new product or new material, or they just restock the material that they have used before. So during the planning process, they will decide on the purchasing, what type of process purchasing that they want, and either how long that the stock that they will purchase will last long until when. That is the target budget. So the target budget is to ensure that they have limitation in purchasing the item or material for a certain period of time. Okay, so let's move to the select supplier. So there is 7 elements in select supplier, which is the first one is recognize the need for supplier selection. So in order to recognize on what type of supplier that we want, firstly we will evaluate the quality on product development, which is we will evaluate whether they have new product development or not, because if they have new product development, that will be interesting to be chosen by the purchaser. The second one is we will see the performance of the supplier, either they have a good consistency in making quality products or not. And the third one is capability on supplying product. Let's say we want 300 kilogram of salts, for example, but the supplier can only afford 200 kilogram of salt. So we can see that they are not capable in supplying what we need. So the second one is identify key sourcing requirements. So when we have recognized on which supplier that we need, we will start to identify key sourcing or the main source that we want, which is from the listed company that we have recognized. So let's say we have 4 companies that we have recognized. So we will look at these 4, which one has the best delivery process, I mean like the delivery on time or not, and the second one which has the best consistency in quality of product, and the third one is which company that can provide the most affordable and can negotiate the price. So when they have identified these requirements, they will move to the determined sourcing strategy. So let's say we have 4 and they listed 3 of them that have good delivery service, they can provide consistency in quality, and then also they can provide they can negotiate with the price. So determined sourcing strategy will identify whether we need to choose these 3 company or not. Maybe we can choose only one, or maybe we can choose 2, maybe we can choose all of them. So that is why we need to identify how many suppliers that we need, and then also what type of relationship to be built with the suppliers, either we want for a long period or a short period with the suppliers, or also what kind of contract shall be made. Okay, when we have done with determined sourcing strategy, we will go to the identify potential supply source, which is when we have done our strategy, either how many suppliers that we need and so on, we will identify these 3 company or any company that we have listed. We will see our current supplier. Either we need to take new supplier or not. So how to know about the current supplier status? We will look at their information of database. We will see either their financial status is in a good condition or not, either they are still capable in providing us materials or not, and so on. So next we move to the limit suppliers in selection pool. So let's say we agree to collab with our current supplier, but we also want to add more suppliers, such as we need 2 other more suppliers. So we will narrow down the suppliers. So we will choose the best from this step. But how? So we will start to do a background research on the company, whether they have a good financial status, or they can provide a good delivery service and so on. That will be considered, as I have mentioned before. And then the second one is considering suppliers who have done a collab before, because we knew how the way of work of suppliers that we have done collab with before. So if we comfortable with this supplier, we can just proceed. So the next one is method of supplier selection and evaluation. So when we have determined on which supplier that we want, we will assess supplier information, which is we will ask them on information that we need. But if we cannot get that, we will do supplier visits to see by our own eyes on how the manufacturing process done. And the last one is select supplier and reach agreement. So in this part, purchaser will give RFQ, which is request for quotation, will be sent to the suppliers, and the suppliers need to bid for RFQ among other suppliers if there is many suppliers. But if not, they automatically win the bid. So when a bid have been done among suppliers, then purchaser will start to do a deeper analysis in order
which one that we should choose based on the criteria that I have mentioned on the other 6 elements that I've mentioned in selecting suppliers. So those company that is not chosen shall not be blacklist because we didn't know in future if they produce any new product that could attract us to be collaborating with them. So that is how select supplier go through.
Next, I will continue with the next 4 process, which is negotiation with supplier, releasing purchasing order, manage and control purchasing supply, and lastly, follow up and evaluation. Firstly, I will start the third process, which is negotiation with supplier. Negotiation, according to Hendricks in 1991, is the process of working on a purchasing and sales program until a mutual acceptable agreement is reached. After that, both the supplier and consumer will sign a contract. Regarding to the content or agreement in the contract, according to Van Willy in 2010, the technical component or content of a purchase agreement are dependent on the project or product. Next process is releasing purchasing order. According to Linders in 2001, a satisfactory purchase order includes the serial number, date of issue, quantity, and description of the purchased item, date of delivery required, shipping direction, price, term of payment, as well as the name and address of the supplier receiving the order and condition. After receiving a purchase order, supplier are usually asked for deliver an acknowledgement to the purchasing department. From a legal standpoint, this process denotes mutual consent and acceptance of the purchase order. Furthermore, for purchasers to conduct their operation efficiently, certain delivery information will be required in advance. There are 2 things that can be done to improve the ordering process, which is firstly, the customer may issue a blanket purchase order, which are open orders that are normally valid for 1 year and are used for repeat purchase from the same supplier. This minimize order processing time and make materials ordering a routine activity. Secondly, online ordering system, which are also used to electronically link the purchasers and suppliers system, allowing for shorter order cycle times, fewer ordering errors, more efficient order tracking, and better visualization of back-ordered items. Next process is manage and control purchasing supply. There are 3 types of expediting according to Van Willy in 2010. For your information, expediting refers to the application of pressure on a supplier to get it to satisfy the initial delivery commitment, to deliver ahead of time, or to speed up delivery of a delayed order. The order may be cancelled or future business may be withdrawn if there is a significant delay or inability to fulfill the purchaser's obligation. Okay, for the first type is exception expediting, which this type is only used when there is a material shortage. The buyer will take action as this is a passive strategy and it is not advised. Secondly, routine status check. This technique is active and the provider will contact a few days before the delivery date to ensure delivery. Lastly, advanced status check. This strategy is even more proactive and it is normally used for high value items and supplies. In order to monitor manufacturing progress, periodic checks and inspection are implemented. Lastly, follow-up and evaluation. Supplier evaluation is a crucial step in evaluating the future cooperation with supplier. If suppliers perform well, they may be added to the company's list of approved vendors. Companies will increasingly pay more attention to doing business with vendors who receive high performance rating scores based on the performance evaluation. Most performance measures are financial position, purchasing process, manufacturing process, distribution process, and lastly, customer service performance.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Sanai bin Abdul Haris and I will proceed to the internal and external purchasing process integration. The purchasing process must be integrated both inside the firm and among the firm with its supplier. Every process has its term and definition. Even though purchasing has its term and definition, it can also be redefined again regarding the connection among the internal and external exchange function. Internal exchange. Internal exchange is a purchasing choice that contributes to organizational and marketing objectives. It also focuses on the interdependence of an organization intakes, throughput, and output. In the internal exchange, there are sourcing strategy and e-system. The external exchange. External exchange focus on the connection between the organization with the supplier in the market. The connection of organization, which is the buyer with the supplier, that necessitates substantial coordination in order to assure supplier service quality and customer fulfillment. In the external exchange, there are e-purchasing, supplier evaluation, and supplier partnership. Type of purchasing system. A purchasing system is a technique for firm to purchase goods or service. A purchasing system oversees the complete acquisition process from demand through purchase order, product delivery, and payment. A purchase system plays an important role of good inventory management since it monitors current stock and assists business in determining what to purchase, how much to purchase, and when to purchase it. There are 6 types of purchasing system. The first one is subcontracting, tender system, blanket order, capital purchase equipment, petty cash system, and lastly, e-purchasing. Subcontracting. Subcontracting is a provider of goods or related service who has engaged into a contractual relationship with an entity to fulfill a contract for which has entity has been contracted. In this situation, the outside individual or firm is referred as subcontractor. Many small firms engage subcontractor to help with a wide range of tasks. For example, may hire an outside service to handle its payroll. The second one is the tender system. Tender is a system that the entity invites supplier to give their quotation. Prospective suppliers are requested to submit a solid and unequivocal offer on the rates and quantity under which they will deliver specific product and or service which is accepted will form the foundation of a future contract. The third one is blanket order. Blanket order is an arrangement to spend a certain amount of cash with a supplier over a specified time period. There are 2 types of order blanket. The first one, agreement to deliver a specific quantity of the product to a defined price for a certain term. Second one is agreement to supply for a given term but with an unknown amount. The fourth one is capital purchase equipment. Capital purchase equipment is a purchasing system which requires high capital. Because capital equipment has its lengthy usable life, the total cost of ownership may greatly outweigh the acquisition price, making it the most important cost element. It is used to buy high value asset like industrial equipment and industrial machinery. The fifth is the petty cash system. When a purchase order or a purchasing card cannot be utilized, a petty cash fund is a cash reserve held in a secure place for a quick use. To prevent theft, petty cash balance must be kept and documented. The Impress system is most often used method of accounting for a small cash expenses. Purchasing stationery such as pencil, paper and book is one of the example of a petty cash system. And last one is the e-purchasing. E-purchasing encompasses web-based purchasing alternative intended at streamlining commercial transaction inside and between business as well as procuring information technology solution. E-purchasing provide benefits such as enhanced productivity and cost saving.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Let's talk about the challenges of purchasing process in halal industry. So firstly is halal logo. One of the most vital elements of halal food packaging is the halal logo. A few companies often abuse the halal logo to deflect the shopper's suspiciousness of the fixing utilized in their items. There are a few cases in which the customers were doubtful of the realness of the halal logo on the food packaging. Indeed, although it is licensed by a recognized specialist such as the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia JAKIM, and Muslim consumers are facing earnest challenges with the halal issue, uncertainty about the acceptance of the product claimed to be halal, and the lack of enforcement in monitoring the food certification becomes a major concern for them. So, secondly is of uh, lack of following the standards of purchasing protocols. So, most companies try and follow a centralized purchasing model. Uh, this is when company funnel all their purchasing needs through a select number of purchasing people, individuals uh, in the organization with the authority to make purchases on behalf of the company. However, it's more common that companies fall into decentralized purchasing mode because their employees won't follow an effective purchasing protocols. Decentralized purchasing usually happens when an employee doesn't have a visibility or access to a purchasing protocol that enables them to get what they need fast. In this instance, employees uh, end up purchasing items themselves or convincing someone to loan them a company credit card for the purchase. Okay, that's all for lack of following the standards of purchasing protocol. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so thirdly is supply risk. A few of the tremendous dangers that take after along the supply chains incorporate overseeing sole provider contracts, showcase dangers, acceptability of items, and cost instability and potential fakes, robbery or receipt extortion, taken a toll, quality, conveyance danger, free thinker spend, and managing with the compliance danger like approach adherence and anti-corruption issues. Moreover, got to identify the providers to guarantee that all delivery requests and measures are met. Hazard relief being a key concern inside the obtainment work is frequently ignored, and all these dangers apply a critical effect on the bottom line. So this risk can best manage with a centralized, efficient, transparent data, and supply management. And fourthly is the delivery obstacles. At the organize of delivery, issues happen when providers deliver late, delivery are not total, items are harmed or do not meet quality prerequisite, and bundling in unsound, and that data names cannot be perused by a barcode frameworks. The reason for these issues as a rule can be followed back to a vague details or a careless provider determination. So to prevent these problems, companies need a clear rule and guidelines with regards to purchasing process. A professional administrative organization should be in place in dealing with payments of invoice. And that's all from me. Thank you very much.
As a conclusion, we can see that purchasing plays a vital role in production to support in many aspects, especially in producing a good quality of product while reducing the cost for production. Other than that, we can see that purchasing process actually requires many observation, strategy, and analysis in every step in order to create a good purchasing management system. Moreover, along with the development of technology which lead to many new type of better purchasing system, there is also many new issue and challenge that we will be faced. Therefore, we need to ensure that we prepare well and keep improving for a better system with a good quality of purchasing management practice. So that's all for our presentation. Thank you for listening.